Hi guys, today I'm going to show you how to apply to SATAC or SATAC depending on how you say it. This is the group who actually runs the applications for university and TAFE after Year 12. We want you to log on, enter in your details, pick your courses, get right up to the very end screen before coming in for your destination meeting at the end of Year 12, just to make sure that you, your parents and the senior school counsellor can have a conversation about what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. We want you to do this first of all so you're taking responsibility for what's going on after Year 12. You can always change it before you press the submit button. You can always change it after you press the submit button as well, but we need you to start doing some stuff for yourself, so this is why we're showing you. So what I need you to do first of all is to open up a web browser, and just in the Google search engine or whatever search engine you've got, just type in SATAC and press go. SATAC is the first group that come up, and if you're going to university you want this blue screen, which is the undergraduate screen. Go into undergraduate, domestic and the year that you're applying, and then start typing in your information. Make sure that if you have a name on your birth certificate, that's actually what you're putting into the SATAC application to register. You need that information, not the information like if your name is Harrison, make sure you put in Harrison, not Harry, alright? Most of you will be Australian citizens. Make sure that you put in an email address that is applicable to what you're going to be able to access in January. So do not put in your school email address, come up with a new one, Hotmail, Gmail, whatever. Just make sure it's appropriate for what you're applying for. So make sure that you have a brand new email address. You won't have the school one at the end of that. After you click, after you put in the details and click register, you'll end up with an email being sent to your email address that you then click on, and it will say to confirm your registration, so make sure you do that. Alright, after you've done that, you're actually going to be able to log in after you agree before after you read through your application information that's on the screen at the moment. So you need to acknowledge that you understand all of that information. You won't have to pay for anything until right at the very end. So if you get this far and want to pull out, that's cool. If you get to the very end, decide that you no longer want to apply to uni, that's also okay. Alright, so once you have registered and you've clicked on your email, you'll have to go back into this screen and log in using your username and password that you created. You need to agree to the terms and conditions that exist, and on the side of the screen is actually a checkbox of what you have and haven't done. Alright, so once you have a green thing on your screen, you can go on to the next section. So most of you won't have a previous name. You will have an address in Australia. Make sure the address that you put in there is one that you're going to be contactable in January. So if you know that you're going away during the summer holidays, put in your grandma's address or something like that, so that they know that they can send something to you and you will be able to actually access it. If you don't have a home line, that's okay, but if you have a mobile phone number, put that in instead, and double check to make sure the email address that you have in that email field is exactly what you want. You can say that you're either Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander. There are some courses that are designed just for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders, or they have something that you can access. So they have not priority picks, but priority places for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders. So if you identify as that, make sure that you make sure you tick the box that says yes for that one. You press the next at the bottom of the screen after you've saved it, and then you start searching for the courses that you're interested in. You can search for any courses, you can search for any universities, all universities. The levels that you want to start going into are undergraduate degrees, and this will actually show you all of the degrees that are starting at the start of next year, and down the bottom it will tell you what the different courses are that you are actually clicking on and applying for. So that was where it says MIDYR, that's mid-year. SEM 1 is the start of year. So what you do is you just keep on adding the courses that you're interested in, do whatever you think you want to be involved in. You can always change the order of your preferences later, which is what I'll show you in a second. So if you type in a 1 into a box and then a 2 into the other box, press reorder, the Bachelor of Arts, Master of Teaching Secondary will be my preference to start off with, that will be the first thing that I may be accepted into. That is also the one that I want to be in the most. You can delete preferences if you no longer want them. If you've clicked the wrong thing, you can always delete the preference. It doesn't matter, that's fine. You can add more preferences afterwards, and you can just keep searching. You can put in like 8 preferences, so put in as much as you want. Don't necessarily put in the one that will have the highest ATAR first. Put in the one that you want as your first preference first. So if you want to do teaching first of all, and then maybe be a physio, put in teaching as your first preference, put in physio as your second preference. All right, it just make sure that you have what you want in the order that you want it in. Then at the end, make sure that you save everything. Again, once you save it, the screen goes green, or the writing at the top of the screen goes green, so you're good. Have you studied or studying at year 12 year level? Yes, you're currently doing it in Australia, and you're planning on finishing in 2017, 18, 19, whenever you're watching this. You finish your thing, your school education in South Australia, and you have finished with a, say, stage 2 or the equivalent of year 12. Your registration candidate number is actually your SACE number, so that they can access your SACE results. And if you've studied in interstate, you need to enter in that information there. So if you've come to South Australia after being in year 12 in another state, that's where you need to do that. Foundation studies and preparation courses is if you've done something to prepare to be able to go to uni other than year 12 subjects. If you've done any other tertiary studies before this, you need to say yes or no, but most of you wouldn't have done that, so just say no, press save and next. If you have done any, if you've got any certificates, so a Cert 3 in business admin, make sure you enter that stuff in. If you've done it through TAFE or someone other than TAFE, put that in there. What the full course title is, so Certificate 3 in business administration needs to be put in there. The year commenced when you first started, when you finished it, when it was conferred to you, and your student number is actually your TAFE number in that case, not, or your USI. It's not your SACE number there. All right, so make sure all of those details are there in there, and then press the next button, which is going to happen. All right, so if you want to sit a stat test at some point during the year, make sure that you have put that information in. The stat test is an additional test that you can take in case you don't get the ATAR that you want, and make sure if you are sitting it because of a disability, or if you've previously sat the stat test, that information is in there. And I'm just going back to make sure that my details are right. And it will let me move on. So if you're going to sit a stat test, put that in there, okay? If you don't know what a stat test is, see me or senior school counsellor, someone, and we'll explain to you what that is. A personal competency statement is not necessary, but it's if you're applying for special entry, you need to actually attach the statement there. And there will be an option for you to be able to put it in there. If you're applying for special entry, so with that statement before, that goes onto your employment experience. So if you're actually applying using previous employment experience, which you're not going to be, that's where you do that under the special consideration section. If your next thing is if you're applying for the university's equity scheme, which means that if you are, Kadena doesn't have bonus points, but if you're applying for low socioeconomic or ATSI or something like that, this is where you apply for the university's equity scheme. You're allowed to do that. If you are doing this, you need to show how you're applying for it. So if you're applying under low socioeconomic, you need to provide your healthcare card or a Centrelink information customer registration number. This is why we've been telling you very early on that you should be actually applying to Centrelink now, to make sure that when you have this application, you have a Centrelink customer registration number in order to be able to enter it into this screen. If you're saying that you want to apply using the university's equity scheme, you have to actually allow, oh no you don't, you should, if you allow the university to contact Centrelink on your behalf, it actually speeds up the process for you, and that's where the bonus points come in. All right, so Kadena at the moment no longer receives bonus points because we have too many kids who achieve too high ATAR and then end up going to uni. So that changes from year to year. It gets reviewed year to year. So this is just for those who are applying individually for bonus point, what's known as bonus points, and you can say yes if that's what you want to do. Completely fine. All right. So make sure that you put in all your details for Centrelink customer registration numbers and things like that, because otherwise they're not going to be able to access your details to be able to tell whether or not you actually are actually eligible for the university's equity scheme. All right, so press next once the state thingy is green, and now you're up to the ready to submit button. This is as far as we want you to go before you come in and see the senior school counsellor. All right, the reason why we want to make sure that you're up to here is because after this you actually need to pay for it. You submit your application and then pay. All right, so pretty much make sure by the time you come into your senior school end of year counselling session, the future pathways options session, that you have actually started your SATAC application. It could be for uni, it could be for TAFE, it doesn't matter. If you're not choosing to apply to either of those places, that's okay, but we need you to make sure that you are able to do this if that is what you're choosing to do. All right, if you have any questions, please come and see me or senior school counsellor and we will help you out. All right, cheers.